Yesterday, Friday the 24th of October 2025, Manchester serial stalker Samantha Wall was finally jailed for 28 months and an indefinite restraining order was put in place in reference to a long-term, over years, malicious communications, stalking, harassment and defamatory comments about Brad Burton and Naomi Timperley. As you'll see later in this video, back in 2022, I stepped in to investigate Sam Wall, and I paid out money to get land registry documents, company house documents. I contacted the police and did various other things and ultimately proved that there was absolutely no truth whatsoever in any of the vile and defamatory allegations that she was posting about Naomi Timperley, Brad Burton, pictured with me here, or Justine Wright, or any of her other victims, including me, because she then turned her attentions on me and accused me of forging police emails and other stuff, which of course was also not true. This case has had considerable media interest, as you'll see later in this video. It's been featured on Good Morning Britain, BBC Panorama, and more recently on Channel 4's Social Media Monsters that you can find on the internet, or the links above or below this video. And pictured here are Naomi Timperley and Brad Burton outside court after Sam Wall was sentenced to 28 months imprisonment. For the record, I did go to the police over Samantha Wall's defamatory and untrue social media post about me, claiming that I'd forged police emails and claiming that I'd done other things that would be considered illegal. And they did go and speak to her, and to some degree it stopped her posting stuff about me. And because of that, sadly, they didn't take any further action in relation to her actions towards me. However, if you have been a victim of her actions in the past, please do contact the police and let them know, because the more of us that do, the more likely that justice can be done for other victims as well. It was a case of sixth time lucky in terms of sentencing. There'd already been 5 adjournments, but finally on the 24th of October 2025, Samantha Wall was jailed for 24 months, and victims and their supporters raised a glass to the justice system for finally producing a result and bringing justice. Now take a look at how Granada Television's Granada Reports covered this on the 24th of October 2025.
Hello and welcome to Friday's Granada Reports. We are live across the Northwest.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Here's what's coming up on tonight's programme.
I work for myself. My company is Sam Wall Digital.
She sounded like a plausible businesswoman. In fact, she was a stalker who terrorised her victims. Tonight, Samantha Wall starts a jail sentence. The targets of her abuse still reeling from their ordeal. First tonight, a plea from the victims of a prolific online stalker. If she's targeted you, do not suffer in silence.
Yeah, tonight Samantha Wall is starting a jail sentence of more than 2 years for a relentless campaign of harassment against 2 business people from the Northwest who she'd only met for a matter of minutes.
Well, outside court, those 2 victims, Naomi Timperley and Bradley Burton, claimed Wall abused others and urged more of her victims to come forward.
They also claimed social media companies refused to listen when they were urged to intervene. Tonight's top story from our correspondent Anne O'Connor.
One victim was a successful businesswoman in Greater Manchester who appeared in a software ad.
My name is Naomi Timperley. I am a partnerships and engagement consultant.
Welcome to the stage, Brad Burton.
Another was a well-known motivator from Salford.
The first person you've got to convince of your brilliance is you.
Both were bombarded and stalked online for years by a woman they met in real life for only moments.
I work for myself. My company is Digital.
Brad Burton told his story to ITV's Good Morning Britain earlier this year after Sam Wall had admitted stalking offences last November. She'd been at one of his business events. And 2 years later, the relentless post started.
So some of the things that she said that I did, I poisoned the cat, I put a tracking device on her, I was giving her death threats daily, I've slashed the tyres, her windows were putting through, and she was painting this picture with photographs and so forth.
Naomi Timperley got similar treatment after she warned Wall to stop attacking fellow business people online.
It's been horrific. It's been mentally and physically draining on me, my friends and my family. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. Got no idea why she does it, but I didn't want it to happen to anyone else, and the only way that I thought this would stop was going to the police.
Naomi and Brad say it was a battle to get the case to court. Stalking, they say, is not taken seriously enough. And the lying messages destroying their reputations remain on the social media sites they were posted on.
You went to the social media companies and asked for help. You were being relentlessly stalked. What did they do? Absolutely nothing. So if I was breastfeeding a child, they would probably remove that picture. But you can be abused by somebody and complain about it, and very defamatory stuff and false accusations. They never did anything.
Nothing at all. Did you ever get any response from them?
Nothing.
Did they ever offer any?
Never got anything.
Doubly difficult for a consultant whose livelihood depends on those platforms.
They've been a massive part of my business life, and I actively encourage people to use them. But I think it's really, really sad that as a victim of a crime, I haven't been protected by them.
Anna Connor reporting there, and Tim Scott was in court in Manchester to see Samantha Wall sentenced. So Tim, as we heard in Anne's report, the two victims repeatedly begged the social media companies to act, but to no avail.
Yes, Gamal, and as you've heard in Anne's report, this case is a sobering reminder of the power of social media and its ability to devastate lives when in the wrong hands. The hands in this instance belonged to Samantha Wall. The survivors of her abuse, Bradley Burton and Naomi Timperley, both gave victim impact statements in court today. Mr. Burton said he'd only met Wall in passing at a business event, but her campaign of online lies that followed was a systematic attempt to ruin his reputation. Ms. Timperley told the court that her name was dragged through the dirt of digital spaces, spaces that once held community, but instead became, she said, cages of cruelty. As those statements were read out, Wall sat smirking and rolling her eyes. I caught up with Mr. Burton and Ms. Timperley after Wall was sentenced.
I think that people, what they end up doing is putting these daft comments online, believing it's just a comment online, but there's someone behind that. And when you have thousands of posts, not one, not two, not 10, but thousands of posts, day in, day out. And the worst thing about it, it was like a modern day witch hunt. She was weaponising and she was galvanising people to it.
So one thing I would like to say, and we've had a number of people reach out to us, but if you are going through this yourself, make sure you're taking screenshots. The police will take it seriously, but it is also something that they are learning about as well. It's a very new crime.
Sentencing Wall to 28 months in prison, Judge Neil Usher told her she was responsible for an unrelenting barrage of abuse designed to maximise fear and distress. He said this was a deliberate and calculated campaign of online stalking of the most egregious kind, and he told her the scale of that online campaign was breathtaking. Wall must now hand over all of her digital devices and is subject to a restraining order. And just a reminder of what Naomi Timperley did say earlier, if you are a victim of this kind of online abuse, please come forward and report it to the police as soon as possible. Back to the studio.
Okay, Tim in Manchester, thank you.
Well, next, she has.
And here is how the local BBC television news covered the story.
Good evening, welcome to North West Tonight with Annabelle Tiffin. Our top story. A woman is jailed for cyber stalking a man for 4 years after meeting him for less than a minute.
She tried to weaponise the internet, and we've had 4 or 5 years of constant abuse, and today, finally, justice has been served.
Samantha Wall sent hundreds of abusive messages online to Brad Burton and a businesswoman, Naomi Timperley. Also tonight...
Here's the main story.
A Stockport woman has been jailed for stalking a man online for 4 years, even though she'd only met him for less than a minute. Samantha Wall accused Brad Burton of making death threats, breaking her windows and killing her cat, but all the allegations were false. She also targeted businesswoman Naomi Timperley online. The 55-year-old social media consultant pleaded guilty last November to charges of stalking and sending false messages. Phil Cunliffe reports.
You're going to love him. Please welcome to the stage, Brad Burton.
It's the story of how a chance encounter can ruin your life. Brad Burton from Salford is a self-employed motivational speaker. When he spoke at this workshop, the audience included Samantha Wall. Afterwards, they had a brief conversation lasting less than a minute, shared a photo, and she left a glowing video review.
Today was absolutely inspirational.
But 2 years later, she started attacking him online. Day after day, she accused him of making death threats, breaking her windows, and even killing her cat. All lies. The stalking went on for 4 years. The story of how it wrecked Brad's business and his health has been told by BBC Panorama.
She was painting a picture that somewhere along the way that I had done all these things and I was trying to cover it up. Social media, the way it works, is guilty until proven innocent.
Mr. Burton, though, wasn't the only victim of Wall's relentless lies. Naomi Timperley from Manchester didn't know Samantha Wall, yet for 2.5 years she was subjected to a torrent of abuse and false allegations by her.
Just the weirdest things. Accusing me of stalking her, that's been her narrative. Accusing me of all sorts of different things.
Today, outside Manchester Crown Court, Naomi and Brad spoke of their relief after Samantha Wall was jailed for online stalking.
It's been guilty till proven innocent, and today we proved that everything that woman had put together, she tried to weaponise the internet, and we've had 4 or 5 years of constant abuse, and today, finally, justice has been served.
We've had a number of people come forward to us saying that they're going through the same thing. If you are, report it, it's illegal. Make sure you gather the evidence and make sure you're as supportive of the police as much as possible. But I am relieved and I can start healing now.
Both victims complained to the social media companies about Wall's posts, but they have not been taken down.
I think the social media have got some culpability in this. They have been, LinkedIn specifically, they say that Sam's posts, thousands of posts, proven to be lies today in a Crown Court, don't break their terms and conditions, and they don't tolerate harassment and bullying. Well, tell me why the woman who's doing 28 months today in prison.
In mitigation, defending barrister Miss Emma Clark said that the defendant had a chronic delusional mental disorder. The judge, though, said the scale of Wall's online campaign was breathtaking. He gave her 28 months, with half her sentence to be spent in jail. Phil Cunliffe, BBC North West Tonight, Manchester.
22 people died.
It was covered by radio stations, TV companies and all the national newspapers. Simply Google search Sam Wall or Sam Wall and Brad Burton or Sam Wall and Naomi Timperley, and you will get all the national news articles and the report from the police with more details. I'll put some of the links above or below this video. In the rest of this video you'll get more of the background and how I became involved in making it more publicly known that she definitely was a liar and there was no truth in the defamatory allegation she was posting about her victims. And then in the process she turned her attentions on me and posted claiming that I was forging police emails and doing other illegal stuff, which wasn't the case. So yeah, it's all here. On the 8th of April 2025, the Daily Mail ran the article you see on screen asking the question, what drove this woman to stalk a motivational speaker for years after meeting him for just 30 seconds? In this video, well, you won't get the answer to that question, but you'll get more of the background of a story that seemed stranger than fiction and towards the end also involved Brad Burton, Naomi Timperley's and other people's stalker, turning her attentions on me, Jonathan Royal of magicalguru.com.
Still to come. Right, this is an extraordinary story. It was a very brief meeting that lasted just for a matter of seconds, how long it takes you to take a selfie. But 2 years on, a motivational business speaker, Brad Burton's life was completely turned upside down when he's subjected to attacks online and years of stalking by that person. Brad, we're sharing this story next. Right, so for motivational business speaker Brad Burton, meeting fans and taking selfies after delivering one of his talks is absolutely par for the course. It's what you do at these events.
True, but one of those brief encounters in 2019 led to Brad becoming stalked and harassed by a woman who falsely claimed he was a psychopath, an abuser, even accused him of poisoning her cat. Now, we're going to speak to Brad in a moment. First of all, here is Will Godley with the story.
Please welcome to the stage, Brad Burton.
He calls himself the UK's #1 motivational business speaker.
Because the first person you've got to convince of your brilliance is you.
But a brief meeting with someone who went to one of his workshops turned into a 4-year stalking ordeal that left him fearing for his career. 2 years after this encounter, Sam Wall flooded social media with false allegations against Brad Burton.
He's poisoned my cat. He's giving me death threats every day. He's threatening me. He's put my windows through. He's slashed me tyre. What?
The 55-year-old calling Brad a psychopath, manipulative, and describing herself as a victim of his illegal behaviour.
She was painting a picture that somewhere along the way that I had done all these things and I was trying to cover it up.
Sam Wall's legal team says she underwent a psychiatric report that showed she had a chronic delusional mental health illness. She has pleaded guilty to charges of stalking and sending false messages, with the judge telling her to expect a prison sentence. A step forward in this saga that's not only hurt Brad, but his job and his family.
Totally amazing.
Yes, it is. Well, Brad Burton is here. Good morning to you. This is, because as a male victim of online stalking, it's not something you hear about all that often, actually. That's one of the reasons you want to talk about it, isn't it?
I think so. You know, there's a less than 2% conviction rate, less than 2%. And the amount of work that we had to do to get here, that's why I want to share the story, so that other people that are going through this right now will find the strength and the courage for them to kind of fight back as well.
Do you remember the moment when you met her? I mean, it was so short. It was a selfie.
Right.
Did you have? Can you even recall it? Did you have any sense, if you can, as to whether there was anything odd about it?
No. And that's the scary thing about this. You know, somebody that I literally met for 30 seconds, and then we had 4 years of my life being dominated by this, because what would happen is I would kind of follow all the instructions to block, to ignore, and then I'd wake up with well-meaning people saying, have you seen what she's wrote about you?
But just on that first moment, because you're kind of, if you do these kind of speaking things, you do loads of selfies at the end, it's just what you do.
That's right.
Did you even know who she was? Did you remember it at all?
No. Largely, unimpressionable.
And so just give us a flavour then of how serious this became for you, in the sense that people that you knew, people that were in the business world, who trusted you, knew you, liked you, were almost checking that you hadn't. Have you poisoned someone's cat, Brad? I mean, they're asking you direct questions about who you are as a person, based on all of the vile things she was plastering absolutely everywhere at a phenomenal rate.
That's right. So if you think about an influencer, the way that social media works, you know, it's all very positive. This was almost like a reverse influencer. Everything that I did was being put through a negative filter, malevolent. So some of the things that she said that I did, I poisoned the cat, I put a tracking device on her, I was giving her death threats daily, I've slashed her tyres, her windows were putting through, and she was painting this picture with photographs and so forth. And the way that she did it was at first, she said, you know, I'm being harassed, and everyone piled on. The next day it's a high-profile speaker, the next day it's a high-profile motivator.
So she built up the momentum.
Correct.
And built up sympathy for herself.
That's right.
With whoever her friends and family were in that
Correct.
circle.
So, do you think, we know the government's got an objective to reduce violence against women and girls. We know that stalking is often a first step towards what can become violent or dangerous. In your case, this person wasn't trying to physically hurt you. It wasn't about violence. It was actually psychological. do you think as a society we take stalking less seriously when it's not man on woman with a sort of more violent intent?
I think there's a case to answer here, and what I mean by that is that as a man, to have gone through this, it has been hard, and I mean that sincerely. You know, it's nothing to do with physical, it's to do with mental. You get somebody who kind of takes over your brain, and I had to use everything that I know, every skill that I know, every talent, to defend myself and to keep myself to mentally sound. I think for me, the social media companies, the fact that those posts are still on social media is scary. You know, they don't tolerate harassment or bullying.
They're still up today?
Yes. And so they don't, you know, the social media platforms don't tolerate harassment and bullying, yet you've got convicted, stalker, harassment, and yet the post is still up there. Why is that? It doesn't make any sense.
Was it the social media companies? Was it the police? Is it our society taking a non-physically violent stalking less seriously?
Ed, I think it's a combination of all those things. I really do. And I think that this is it. It was a perfect storm, because this woman, quite frankly, should not be in this situation. The social media companies have failed her, because if they deplatformed her when I asked them to, she wouldn't be going to court.
And just to be clear, the kind of lengths you had to go to prove your innocence, if you like, to all those people who... You had a big social media following, because that's your job, essentially. You sort of had to take photographs of yourself with the day's newspaper to go, I am not in prison.
That's right.
Because she was saying to people, you'd gone to prison.
And I've also got a twin. And I was with...
You've got a twin who was masquerading as you at these events.
That's right. And the same tattoos and the same haircut. But, you know, the reality is that I think there's been a massive failing on so many fronts on this one, that actually... But we need to learn the lessons from it. We need to learn the lessons from it. The social media companies need to learn the lessons from it. And I did say to them at the time, hey, if this was you or one of your family, would you have acted differently? And they, well, of course they would have. And that's what I think they need to look at that. If this was them, if this was their family member that was being targeted in this manner, what would they do? Because that is exactly what should have happened to both me and the other victims. Let's be quite clear here. There's female victims in all this as well.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And the online safety bill is partly to do with this, isn't it?
Have you spoken to Jess Phillips, the Home Office Minister? You know, she's done amazing campaigning about violence against women and girls and stalking. But I think, you know, that she would take your story also very, very seriously. It is different, well, but it's an important conversation to have, because it doesn't all have to be about trying to harm, or at least the harm in your case was not... I don't think you ever felt that you were going to be attacked.
Oh. We absolutely did. I've set up an alarm system and a camera system at home as a result of it, and we actually got the services of a security guy to do that and to secure the property.
Did she ever try to attack you?
No, but what happened is, because of the nature of it, it was almost like a modern-day witch hunt. They had people on social media that were coming for me, that were saying they're going to do things to me.
And also, when somebody's so unpredictable, you don't know what their next move might be, and that's the fear that it puts in your mind about, am I safe when I leave my house? Where is this person?
And I think the other thing about this is also, it's not just me, it was my family, my business colleagues. You know, I think if it wasn't for the journalists that picked this up, I would have been in trouble, because Well,
it's really good to talk to you, Brad. And if you've been affected by any of those issues we've been discussing, you can find advice and support at itv.com/helpline. I'm very glad the ordeal is over. I
appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you for telling your story. It's important to do that, so it's really appreciated.
Cheers.
As you'll see in the next bit of video, I was one of those journalists, albeit I wasn't conventional print media or televisual media, but back in 2022 I started to investigate this, originally with the intention of exposing Brad Burton, and then uncovered all the evidence that proved everything he was saying was true and everything the stalker was saying was untrue. And in this next bit of video I explain a little bit more about that and how I obtained documents from the land registry, and also got emails from the police, and then I got accused by his stalker, Sam Wall, of those emails being forged by me, and she started posting defamatory and vindictive comments about me all over the internet because I'd stuck my head above the pit, as it were, to expose the fact that she was a liar, and Brad Burton, Naomi Timperley and Justine and other victims were exactly that, victims and completely innocent of everything they were accused of.
Hundreds of thousands of people are stalked online every year. These stories can sound outlandish, but actually that is just how these stalking campaigns work.
We've been investigating one online stalker.
Only me. I hate doing videos.
In this short video, I'm going to reveal to you how I was involved in helping the general public realise that Brad Burton, Naomi Timperley, Justine and others were victims of Samantha Wall, the person in the Panorama My Online Stalker as broadcast today.
Thousands of abusive messages.
Was it tough on your family, all of this?
Of course it was. Of course it was. Told malicious lies.
I didn't want to do anything after that. I have to carry on.
And that's just the tip of a massive iceberg. It really would be wise to search out BBC iPlayer for My Online Stalker as broadcast on the 31st of March 2025. It's available now for the next year. If you're in England, if you're outside England, you'd need to use an IS. They're called ISPs to make it look like you're in England so that it will then let you watch it. Or you may find sometimes they put things on YouTube a couple of days after on the BBC Panorama's YouTube site. 31st of March 2025. Tonight at 8 p.m. United Kingdom time on British television station BBC, Panorama's investigative news programme will broadcast My Online Stalker. It's also available to watch right now online and for the next year at bbc.co.uk/programmes/M0029TY1 or search online for BBC iPlayer and then Panorama and the episode for 31st of March 25, My Online Stalker. Around 600,000 people a year report online stalking and harassment to the police in England and Wales. So what does it feel like to be one of the victims? Panorama investigates one extraordinary case. A businesswoman who ruined lives by posting thousands of abusive messages. For more than a decade, she targeted other business people and falsely accused them of crimes ranging from slashing her tyres to killing her cat. Reporter Dara McIntyre meets the victims who have been publicly vilified. They don't know why they were targeted and they haven't been able to get the messages taken down. One of those victims featured in the programme was British motivational speaker Brad Burton. And another victim is tech industry expert and leader Naomi Timperley. There are other victims such as Justine, who you'll see on the programme. There's this BBC News story, it'll be at the link above or below, mentions. They literally met for 30 seconds and she stalked him for 4 whole years. For more on the story, I recommend visiting bradburton.biz/stalker. Again, the link will be above or below this video. On that page, as well as letters from the police, you will also see emails. Now on there, who they were sent to is redacted, but I can tell you they were sent to me, Alex William Smith, better known as Jonathan Royal Hypnotist. Email number 1 and another email, which I managed to acquire from Wayne Hasselby, the police officer who was dealing with this, to clearly confirm. Well, in the case of the first email, to confirm, as it does, my apologies for the dual name above. Well, the reason for that is because I'd put Alex William Smith and Jonathan Royal names at the end of the email. You have signed the main text of your request as Jonathan, however, the contact details as Alex. With regards to your request, I can confirm the following. The letters are 100% genuine and factually correct. Mr. Burton is not being investigated by Greater Manchester Police nor any other police force. He's currently a victim of crime in an ongoing investigation. After I had posted this on the internet to prove that what Brad was saying was true and that what Samantha Wall was saying was complete lies, I became a target for her lies, defamatory comments, and such like, basically claiming that I'd forged police emails, which is why I contacted the police again to confirm that they were indeed and are indeed 100% genuine and factually correct. You can see them on bradburton.biz/stalker. On the BBC News article, link above or below this video, it is today, the 31st of March 2025, reported that Wall, aged 55, a social media consultant, pleaded guilty to charges of stalking and sending false messages at Manchester Magistrates Court last November. Her sentencing was delayed for a second time last week, but the judge told her to expect a prison sentence. Wall's legal team said a psychiatric report showed she has a chronic, delusional mental health illness. Her conviction was in relation to two victims, Brad Burton and businesswoman Naomi Timperley, who were targeted with abusive messages over the past 4 years. It's just been hideous, really hideous, and I don't know why it happened, Naomi tells us. I'm still really anxious, sometimes I get really sad. BBC Panorama has spoken to other victims who say they were stalked by Wall over a period of more than 10 years. Some had never met Wall, while others only knew her as a passing acquaintance. And still, the messages have not been removed from Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or other social media platforms where the vindictive, defamatory comments were posted. As you'll guess by now, the female tech influencer did get her arrested, and quite rightly so. This is one of many, many things that appeared on LinkedIn and then got linked to on Twitter, on Facebook, and numerous other social media platforms, and in most cases are still there. The social media platforms need to do better. Within that, Sam Wall talks about flying monkeys and accuses Brad and her other victims of having a core gang of people who are gaslighting and lying, which is just complete and utter madness. And within that, she clearly says, giving the link to images of the emails I obtained from Greater Manchester Police, that I, in my birth name Alex Smith, a mate of the motivational psychopath, heavily began targeting me. He's played an integral part of forging law enforcement paperwork, apparently. And then apparently I've been, according to her, harassing her and such like, which of course, again, complete and utter nonsense and lies. On that same post, as you can see, yes, I was on the internet insisting that the motivational, he's not a motivational psychopath, one of the nicest people you meet, Brad Burton, and I was insisting he was not in prison due to the fact that he was not in prison, and also due to the fact that he does not have a twin brother. Did I kind of label her as the biggest fantasist of 2022? No doubt I did at the time, due to the fact that I'd done my investigation research and proved that she was blatantly lying about things like properties being sold and Brad being involved and such like. And there we go again. Defamatory, untrue allegations of me falsifying law enforcement paperwork. She then has the audacity to falsely claim that I was aggressively attacking her on all her social media platforms against posts where I recount, as she says, my decade of abuse, well, non-existent, whilst simultaneously publicly calling me a liar directly to my work colleagues and a few friends I've actually known for over 40 years of life, and attacking them rudely, aggressively if they don't agree. This misogynistic man, Alex Smith, is a henchman for the motivational psychopath. He has heavily targeted me across all social media platforms under two separate names. Yeah, Alex Smith and Jonathan Rowe, just depends the name on the account. And once blocked, has gone on to set up new social media accounts purely so he can carry on targeting me. Completely untrue. The fact is, when she claimed that Brad had been sent to prison, he hadn't. And the reason for that is because he was the victim. Again, just because I actually had the due diligence to contact the police and get 2 emails confirming that none of the things that Samantha Wall was claiming had any validity whatsoever, and just because I went to the land registry, paid money and got documents to confirm allegations about Brad being involved in property deals with properties related to Samantha Wall, again, complete and utter fabricated nonsense. Because of that and the fact that I made it publicly known on social media, I get branded apparently as being someone who's harassing her and threatening her. No, all I ever did, and they're still there on social media, I post links to images of proof from the police, genuine emails confirming that Brad, Naomi and others such as Justine were and are indeed victims of the vindictive, delusional, defamatory nonsense posted over a period of years about them on social media that sadly, currently today, the 31st of March 2025, still remains. Hopefully the broadcast of BBC's Panorama programme will lead to the social media networks taking these things down. Hundreds and hundreds of posts and articles, not just on LinkedIn, but also then posted with links on Facebook, Twitter and other social media platforms. This one from 2023, you'll notice, he found evidence Alex Smith, who's still targeting me with Brad's fraudulent GMP docs, has already done a prison sentence for serious fraud years earlier. A tiny, tiny grain of truth there. What you mean is the fake shake stuff that's openly in the public domain. You didn't have to dig for that because I've got a website up, circusofthemind.net, where the full evidence is up. And most recently, end of 2024, I got compensation from News Group newspapers for their illegal actions towards me in relation to that. Somebody, I have no idea who, managed to get my Clear Thoughts Mentalism Hypnosis.wordpress.com blog removed, but if you copy and paste the links, if you find them on social media, into Web Archive, the pages are still there. And this person had shared a link where I had the emails to prove that Brad, Naomi and Justine were the victims and that Sam had posted defamatory, untrue lies. And lo and behold, she responds. I love the way Royal, that's my stage name, has a link to his career underneath his blogs. I have a link to my career on every page of my blog. I did. That's what my blog's about. Fool. Trying to twist things again. There were a lot more posts on various social media platforms accusing me, either as Alex Smith or my stage name Jonathan Royal, or both, of forging police emails, of being a paid henchman for Brad Burton, for apparently harassing her, even been accused of threatening her, all of which is nonsense. The evidence out there speaks for itself, and indeed I had to get the police involved on a couple of occasions. They did not press charges against her in relation to her attacks on me, which happened over a period of a number of months. Once I was, as you can see on the things I've shown you, in like 2023, confirming that Brad, Naomi, Justine and others were the victims and that Samantha Wall was the delusional stalker. But they did go and warn her. At the end of the day, I did the right thing. Journalistically, the truth is that originally I saw stuff that was apparently purporting to be very, very serious allegations against Brad Burton. And I was intending originally to do a podcast or similar to expose the British motivational speaker Brad Burton, which was such a great shame because I'd already read all his books, and you'll see on YouTube, on my Celebrity Hypnotist YouTube channel, my review of his book saying they are must reads for any human being. You really should have a look at Get Off Your Arse and the other books by Brad Burton. However, I did something that a proper journalist does. I investigated, and I didn't just take things at face value, and I went and spent money with the land registry and got documents about the property that Samantha Wall was saying Brad Burton was involved in dodgy land and building dealings with. And I contacted the police, and I obtained 2 different emails confirming that everything that Brad said was true, and that there was no truth whatsoever in any of the vindictive, twisted allegations made on various social media platforms by Samantha Wall towards Brad Burton, towards Naomi Timperley, towards Justine, or indeed towards me or other victims. And then I published these in the public domain to make the truth known, which made me become a target for Sam Wall's lies, defamatory comments, and taking tiny grains of the truth, in my case, the fact that, yeah, I have had a prison sentence in the past. But as you can see at circusofthemind.net and on my website magicalguru.com, at the links above or below this video, it was in relation to Rupert Murdoch's fake Sheikh Mazza Mahmood, a backfired attempt to expose his dishonesty and his lies back in 1998. Because for the past 27 years, in one way or the other, I've along the way done what I can to expose the truth about injustices, lies, and various things, including my documentary, Extreme Danger, Extreme Hypnosis, which you can also see on my website, magicalguru.com. So there you have it. Tonight, BBC, Panorama, My Online Stalker. I'm not on the documentary, but as I say, for the reasons outlined in this video, I am very interested that everyone should see it and lobby your MPs to do more to encourage the social media platforms to take down things that are untrue. The fact is, Sam Wall's already pleaded guilty to the 5 counts. That alone should immediately have meant that LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter and the other social media platforms removed her defamatory post. In fact, closed down her accounts in full. But no, they still haven't at the time of this video. Bye for now.